Hey guys, welcome to the Something About Tuesdays podcast. I'm your host, Phoebe Joy. Join me every other Tuesday for a lighthearted podcast to keep you company while you do your thing. Hey guys, welcome back to episode 12 of Something About Tuesdays. I'm your host, Phoebe Joy, and hi. Hey, I feel like it's been so long since I've talked to you guys, since I've recorded. And I say that because when I recorded my last two, which was with my dad, it was before we left for our trip. And so it's been probably like 3 weeks or so now. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, it's been so long. But I do have some stories to tell. I do want to say thank you for all those who've listened. Thank you, Dad, for coming on. It was so much fun. I've had good comments from friends about both episodes. It was a blast. I'm definitely going to have Dad back. But hi. It is good to be back. It's good to be back and recording. Good to be back home in the States. Actually, so with all this goodness, you guys, can you believe that tomorrow the first day of school starts for us? Oh my goodness. How is the summer over already? I feel like it just started. Oh, actually, when this comes out, I would have already started work yesterday, and I'm recording this Saturday, but I would have already started work yesterday. And the kids come back tomorrow. Oh my goodness. But you know what? I think I'm ready for it. I've had a pretty good full summer. I had some relaxing moments. It's been full. It's been good. It's been relaxing in some moments. It's been energizing in others. It's been long in others. But short overall, I will say that. Summer just flew right by, but it's been a fantastic summer. But this episode, as much as, you guys have been with me this summer, so you know how it's been. This episode, we are going to focus on, so my husband and I, since I think episode 1, I've mentioned that our 10-year anniversary was coming up. And every time I mention, I'm like, yeah, woohoo, Well, now it has come and gone. I know, how quick is that? Our 10-year anniversary happened in July, so last month, and for our anniversary trip, we decided to go to the UK, so the United Kingdom. Right. That wasn't the original plan, but that is what we ended up compromising to go do, and best compromise ever. It was so good. I can't wait to get into it. So we decided to go to Scotland and go to a couple places there, and then to England and go to London. And I have to tell you this, somebody loves you when they're willing to sit through you talking about your trip and going through your pictures for like over an hour. And I say this, I don't know that it was over an hour, but it had to have been right at an hour. And you guys are like, isn't that what we're about to do? But wait. It's the pictures too. So I was with my mom, and this is how I know she absolutely loves me, because I had taken over 900, I think it was 930 something pictures on this 10-day trip. And she sat there as I flipped through. Well, she flipped through maybe the first like 300, and then she got tired of flipping, so I would flip through it. But we flipped through, and I talked about like every picture. And these pictures, there's multiples, but I'm like, okay, so in this picture, I was thinking this, and then the next picture, it'll look just the same, but I was like, but this happened, and that's where my thought process was with this picture. And she sat through all of that. Patience of a saint, let me just say. True love, thank you, mother. There's nothing quite like a mother's love. But she sat through all of that, all my explaining. And honestly, and I had another friend who did the same. My Emmers from church, we got to go out and just kind of catch up. It had been a few weeks since we'd seen each other, and she sat through and listened to me explaining just different stuff. And I just know that takes like you really do care about somebody sometimes when you listen to everything they have to say, which it is interesting to an extent, but some of it you're listening because you love them, right? And so and I'm not saying that they weren't interested at all, but I am saying like that just showed their love for me, and I appreciate that to them, and in turn I appreciate that with you guys, because we're about to talk about this trip. Now, not every single detail, but just about a few of the highlights, the things that I thought were interesting enough to bring to you all. And I also plan to post at least maybe a couple of the pictures that I might share with you based on the stories that I have. There's just a lot of, not a lot. I don't want to scare you guys, but there's just, how do I want to start? Let's start with a sales pitch for Scotland and in England. And let me just say, if you at any point in time have been thinking about traveling overseas, do it. Whatever overseas means for you, right? Going to a different country, do it. It's amazing to see the different cultures, and you really do get an appreciation for the diversity of our world when you go to a different place. Like, of course, like where we live, there can be diversity there, but the diversity is other people it's new to them. You're the one who's there. And so it just feels like, it's your culture, right? But when you go to a different place and you're kind of the tourist or the oddball out, right? Or the one of a different culture, it just feels so different. And you get appreciation for other cultures. You get appreciation for people who come to visit your culture or who are there to, to stay or whatever. And you get an appreciation. And I'm not saying I've never been out of the country. I've been to Costa Rica once. I did a study abroad in Costa Rica, and that was amazing. And that brought out a different appreciation. But going overseas, going to Europe with my husband. It was so much fun. It was definitely an experience and a half. If you've been debating going, go. If you are, worried about traveling, do it anyway. Do it. It is worth it. And I'll start with Scotland. So the first place we went to was Scotland. And let me just say, so of course, flying, you got to fly, right? The idea of flying, my husband, of all things, he was like, I love the idea of going overseas. I love the idea of going to a different place. I do not like the idea of flying. It just does not appeal to him, which I understand. Like, flying's not fun, but to me, it's a means to an end. You got to do it, it could be because I'm a short person and therefore, the seats aren't too bad for me. Whereas if you were taller like my husband, then you might, be a lot more uncomfortable, especially for those long flights. But the thing that I thought about while I was flying, while we were there, there was, of course, your typical, child, the little boy who's probably like a year and a half, maybe he could have been 2. He looked really little, but he did good for a little bit, and then he just cried for a good 45 minutes or so until he wore himself out. And of course you could be, annoyed by it or frustrated by it, but honestly, when I was thinking about it, I was looking at all the people on the plane, and I was like, how cool is it that we have this invention. We have this plane. We've got this mode of transportation that allows people from all over, from wherever, to get on this singular mode of transportation, this plane, and fly for hundreds of thousands of miles to get to another place. And then go their separate ways. So it was like, for a minute, we're all here. We're all heading to the same place, whether we end up like as our final destination or not, but we're all here together just trying to get somewhere. How cool is it that we're allowed to do that? And as like stinky as it is to maybe have a crying baby on a plane, as the person who, like, as that mom and that dad that were on the plane, how cool is it that they can take their kids and fly to go see whomever, family, just go to a different place, wherever they were heading. We'll just say family for the sake of this kind of this visualization. But the fact that they can take their family to maybe go hundreds of miles to go see a family member, something that maybe driving could have taken days, or maybe you couldn't even get there if you were going, overseas or to a different country, just by driving. So just there's this opportunity for them to get there. So while it was a little annoying to have that kid crying, I appreciated the fact that for them, they get this opportunity to take their family. Like, it's not banned. Like, sorry, you got a kid. No. your kids to, no, like, it's just, yes, like, we get it's an inconvenience for those around you, but the convenience of being able to fly and take that would have been super extra long trip, if impossible trip, and make it possible and make it shorter for you and your family. That's just amazing. Shout out to airlines. Shout out to the Wright brothers. Shout out to all the people who've made flying possible and made it possible for people and for families, and to give us another way to reach and connect and to do these things, because it wouldn't have been possible without a plane, right? So anyway, I was just like, this is so cool. I had been on planes before, but that went through my mind, and I was like, you know what, even on the flight back, there was a kid who did the same thing, cried for like an hour before we even got off the ground, cried. Like, it wasn't because of anything other than just sitting on the plane. The poor thing cried. But it was still an appreciation that I had for, like, just the fact that it was a possibility for myself and my husband. It was a possibility for them and their family. It just felt really cool. So love that. Love the idea of flying being an avenue for people to connect and to reach, outside of what they normally would be able to. So I thought that was awesome. But so we get on the plane, right? We make it all the way to Scotland. And the first place we go to is called Edinburgh. So it's spelled like Edinburgh, but I had to Google it. I was like, I'm going to prepare for this. And I've heard Edinburgh, like Edinburgh, or like Edinburgh, like, which I think is just a quicker way of saying Edinburgh. Anyway, point is, we went to Edinburgh, and it was real. When I say y'all, Scotland is beautiful. It is so gorgeous. Like, when you picture, like, I don't know, a movie set back in the day with hills and mountains and things. Scotland, it was like that kind of setting. It was absolutely stunning. And Edinburgh was the same. And kind of my first, like, you're here experience was our driver who took us to the hotel. He was talking, and he had the awesome Scottish accent, the accent that I cannot do. Y'all know I like to try to do my English accent. I like to try to speak like, hello there, how are you? Talk like a British person, or someone with an English accent from, England or whatever. But my Scottish accent, it does not exist. It's terrible. I've tried. What's hilarious is my husband tried. He would randomly say stuff to me with his lovely attempt at a Scottish accent, and it was so hilarious and so horrible. I never knew what he was trying to say, and I was like, husband, please stop. It's so funny because he wouldn't care. Like, if we were in front of people, he would do it with just me as well, and it would just be hilarious. That's gonna be a memory that I hang on to, is my husband trying to talk with a Scottish accent and be like, that's really good. I was like, no. But I can't say anything. Like, I love to have fun with accents, and usually they're not that great, but it was just hilarious. But so Edinburgh itself is like a city surrounded by the mountains. It has this beautiful Gothic like type architecture. Not all of it. I'm not artsy, so I don't know. But there was this one monument. I can't remember what the monument was called. I don't want to say it. I don't want to be like Scott's Monument, and then that wasn't it. I don't know exactly what the monument was, but it was like this black building. And when I say Gothic, like it had the gargoyles like on the like at the tops and stuff. That was so cool. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a building, honestly, in person that has that kind of architecture, and I absolutely loved it. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful, stunning. It was absolutely, it was cool. I don't want to keep saying cool, but y'all, it was pretty cool. And then I wrote down, so Black Sheep Coffee. So they have Starbucks over there like we do, but they have this little place called Black Sheep Coffee, and that ended up being like our go-to coffee place just because it was everywhere, and it was pretty fun. Not fun, well, it was cute. You didn't order with a person, you had to order at a machine. And I made the mistake of going up there to the person. They're like, you got to go to the machine. I was like, okay. But you order at the machine and they give you your stuff, which is, that's not the cool part, but it was just the cool coffee vibe atmosphere. I really enjoyed that. So while we were there, we wanted to do a couple things. One of the things that we wanted to do, and I have to tell you this. So I promise I will go through this quickly. You're like, you really are going to tell me about your whole trip. Not the whole trip, just the highlights, But so I wanted to go to we wanted to go to this thing called Arthur's Seat, and it's just like this really high part. I don't want to call it a mountain, but it's like, I guess, this mountain hill thing, where you could go to the top and you could see the city. Well, my husband and I were like, okay, let's go. We planned to do that. It was our second day there, I believe. And we walked in that direction. So we were going to go there, and then we're going to stop by the Palace of Holyrood, I think is how it's pronounced. And that was our only goals for the day. And thank God that was our only goals, because we started walking in that direction. And we walked and walked and walked and walked. And I was looking on my phone at my maps, and we didn't pay to have any type of service over there. So we only had to use Wi-Fi. So it was fine when we were in places like the coffee shops and things like that. But once we were out in the streets, we were like, we can't look up anything. We just have to kind of use our sense of direction, which I apparently do not have, and signs and stuff. And so I did start learning to take pictures of my map so I could use that. And then later on, I learned that I think my maps still work whether I had Wi-Fi or not. Didn't learn that till like 7 days into the trip. I was like, man, that would have been useful day two. But so we were heading towards Arthur's Seat, and we just start walking. And what I thought was, we walked down the correct road. And then we were supposed to turn right, and we did. We turned right, but then we're like, this doesn't look like right. So we went back, and we kept walking straight. Y'all, we should have, when we turned right, we should have kept going that way. It would have eventually, I think, took us to the right spot. But we kept walking down, and I had 45 minutes in, you all, almost an hour in, we were like, okay, while this is cool, we are seeing parts of Edinburgh that like no longer looks touristy. Like, this is now just the people of Edinburgh, like, where they, not the touristy part. We were like, we were trying to get to kind of a touristy location. So we were like, this is not quite where we're supposed to be. So we made it to a McDonald's. And this is how I know it wasn't like the touristy McDonald's, because we go there, there's not a lot of people there. Hubs is like, let me, run to the restroom, order me a Diet Coke. I'll be back out. I'm like, yep, gotcha. I go up there, and I'm like, hi, I'd like to, get a Diet Coke, large Diet Coke. They're like, all right, anything else? And I was like, yeah, go ahead and give me a sweet tea. And the look she gave me was like the most incredulous look. It was sweet. She was like, oh, what? I said, a sweet tea. I said, a large sweet tea, no ice, please. And she was like, we don't have sweet tea. And she gave me a look like, you're a tourist person. I was like, oh, yeah, that's okay. She's like, we have iced tea. Would you like iced tea? I was like, oh, no, that's okay. I'll just get like a cup of water or something. And she's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, it's okay. And you guys, the sweet tea, there was not a sweet tea at the McDonald's. It's apparently not at every McDonald's. And you're probably saying, duh, Phoebe. But yeah, they didn't have sweet tea at that McDonald's. It surprised me. And so I definitely felt like a tourist there. She gave me the look like, what are you trying to order here? And I will say, being over in the UK, I did, like, drinks wise, I don't want to say it, but man, they're stingy with their drinks. Beautiful places, beautiful people, lovely, but like those drinks, man, you got to pay for every drink. It was like no free refills wherever we went. And maybe it could be because we went to touristy places, but I was like, golly, this hurts over here. We got to pay for each drink. But even our water, not every place charged us for water, but most places did. And I was surprised. I was like, what? So I did miss that about the US. I did miss our free water. But anyway, so we did end up finding Arthur's Seat, and it was absolutely stunning and beautiful. It was worth it. It did take like another hour to hike up the thing, and then to come back down. My husband's so adventurous. We went down some way that maybe was a pathway and maybe it wasn't, but we did make it down, and it was pretty awesome, absolutely beautiful. And then we got to go see the Edinburgh Castle, which was awesome. It's, a lot to see, a lot of history. My husband, I forgot how he is at museums. When you go to a museum, there's two types of people, okay? There's the ones who read everything and look at everything and want to know about everything, my husband. And the ones that I just want to see it. If it looks cool, I might read about it, glance about it, but really I just want to look and go through and then be like, hey, I went to the museum, oh my goodness. And so my husband, he did good. Like, he kept me in mind. He didn't read too much, but he did read a lot more than I would have. And I'm sure learned a lot. So it does take us a while to get through museums, but it really was beautiful. And we got to see they have like this 1:00 firing of the gun thing. I know. That's how you know I did not read it, because I'm calling it the firing of the gun thing. I don't know its official name, but it was cool to see that. And I tried to record it. And of course, when the gun went off, it was so loud, I jumped. And so it's all blurry and not a good shot at all. But that was pretty awesome too. So that was our kind of stay in the city part. The last thing that I'd want to say about that was the reason why that city to me, Edinburgh, was so beautiful also is because it was surrounded by like the mountains or the Munros of Scotland, and almost down like any alley that you looked, you could see just beautiful mountain. And so it was this backdrop, like, so there's the city, but it was this beautiful backdrop behind it, so that if you ever got tired of kind of looking in the city part, you could just like look up and see the beauty of the mountains and just be like reminded that, oh man, I'm in this beautiful place, right? I mean, y'all could take that deep, right? To take it deep and take it as you need it to be. Look up and remind yourself of the bigger picture. But it really was a stunning place. And the other place that we went to in Scotland, so we decided, my husband, we wanted to do a city, but we also wanted to do somewhere in the Highlands, so something a little more rural. Rural, that's kind of hard to say. And so we ended up going to this place called Kinloch, Rannoch. I don't know how to say it, but it was this little town, and I use the word town lightly, and by that I mean there was 2 hotels, there were no restaurants aside from this cute little cafe. There was like a I don't want to say a grocery store because it wasn't groceries, but like a little store to get, a little general store type thing, and some houses, and that was like it. There was a primary school, which I absolutely loved, and the guy who took us there, he said that I think 17 students, pre-K through 12 years old, so maybe 6th grade, went to that school. But it was this little place. I have to say, honestly, I have to let you in a secret. My husband, I did it for him. We did the Highlands for him, and we did like London and Edinburgh for me. But I have to say that I think that Kinloch Rannoch was my favorite part of the trip. I know, right? Like you would think, and like I would love the other places, which I did. I loved them for different reasons. But this was the most peaceful place and stunning place. Like where I live, I kind of live out in the country. We've got a little bit of land. So I see beauty all the time, right? I see the beauty of nature, but it was just different with those Munros, I believe is what they're called. And just that, like the green there is different. I love looking at the different greens and the different places I go, like the foliage, like literally the color of the green where I am. Like I loved the green of Costa Rica, like kind of that bright green what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it now, but like when you're thinking about like the island, the Caribbean, that type of green, just a very beautiful green. But the green of Scotland, it was like a different green. It was like this dark bluish green. Like I don't know how to describe it other than it was stunning. I'm gonna have to put a picture on Instagram so you guys can see it. And the picture, as gorgeous as it is, I mean, beautiful, no filter picture, it's even more beautiful in person. And it was just, my husband and I, we went for a walk, I think on our last day there. And I mean, through the sunset, it was cloudy, so you really couldn't see the sunset, but it was just the most peaceful, beautiful, fresh air, like stunning views. Nature was beautiful. We saw horses, saw sheep, saw deer. It was amazing. So I would say if you do plan a trip, this is now it's my sales pitch for Scotland. Don't forget to plan some time in the Highlands. And we didn't even go like super high in the Highlands. I would love to do that next time. Yes, I'm believing in a next time. I definitely want to go back. But plan, like, try to get out into the Highlands. Try to see some of that beauty. It's stunning. The water, beautiful. The lake, maybe I think that's what they call the loch or whatever. It's gorgeous. I mean, big, beautiful waves. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I had to literally stop. I went for a walk by myself at some point when my husband decided to try to hike up a mountain by himself. Yes, he likes to do that. And on my walk, I had to stop and just breathe it in and like breathe it out and just be like, wow, this is where I am. I am standing in Scotland looking at this beauty. Oh, it was amazing. And honestly, that taught me a lesson right there. I was like, sometimes, like, there are just moments where you just have to stop and literally just take it in, like go through all your senses. It was sort of this thing. I thought about it back when I went to school for therapy, and it like I don't remember it now, but you would, close your eyes and go through all of your senses. So I would just take a minute and I'd be like, okay, what do I smell? Fresh air. Like I literally could smell the fresh air. What do I, feel like the coolness of the air, the wind here and there, what do I see? That was easy to describe. And what do I hear? The whispers of the trees, the water. Oh my gosh, the gurgling of the water, or the waves coming. Taste, I didn't taste anything, but hey, sometimes, if you got something that you're eating at that time or whatever, it was just stunning. It was beautiful. And I tried to capture it and like imprint it in my mind as a memory that I don't want to forget. So absolutely loved Kinloch. Loved it. And that was close to Pitlochry, which is the touristy part, about 50 minutes away. We didn't get a chance to stay in Pitlochry or do anything there, but that was kind of like the point where we would go in to like catch the train and stuff like that. So now we're moving on to the last section. I know, I told you guys it's this UK trip I have to share. So then the last part was London. So we got to go to London and we took the train. It was about a 6-hour ride from Pitlochry to London. And the train ride was beautiful. It was fun. I read a book throughout that. And that was, read a book on a train. You don't have to worry about driving. You can get up if you need to. It was beautiful, beautiful ride. Then we get to London, and London's a different feel, right? I wasn't sure what to expect. I hadn't been to a big city like London. Like I think they usually compare it to like our New York, but it's bigger. And I think we kind of went maybe to the heart of London. I know London's huge, but where we stayed, y'all. Okay, I wasn't gonna go into this quite yet, but let's go ahead and talk about. We stayed at this lovely hotel. And it's when I say, you guys, so we stayed at this hotel. It's a 5-star hotel. And it was, you guys know where sometimes you walk into a place and you're like, oh, I don't belong here. I had that feeling because it was posh. Posh is the nice word. When I first went, I said, oh, this is bougie. But I meant it like in a good way. Like this is a very posh hotel. Like, we walked in and they were like, hello, it was the bag guy who took our bags and like all of them. And we had 3, but he took them all. And then he showed us the hotel room, and you guys, it had and this may be speaking to, how I'm just used to regular hotels, but it was like it had the button to push. We were on the 12th floor. That already tells you something. And that was not the tallest floor. And, you push the button for the curtains on the windows to like move forward. There's 2 sets of curtains. So there's 2 buttons. And then there's 4 buttons because there's a button to open the back curtain and a button to close the back curtain and a button to open the front curtain and a button to close the front curtain. And then there's the buttons for your lights. There's the button to put all your lights on, and then the one just for your reading light, and then for your like soft light, your relaxing light is what it called. Oh my goodness, so many buttons. It was really cool. And then in the bathroom, of course, the heated towel rack. Oh, thank you. With inside the bathroom, the toilet had its own little room. It was awesome. And the floor, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the floor was heated in there sometimes. I have no idea if it was planned or not. I assume so. Maybe it was just how they created it. I don't know. But the floors were heated. The towel rack was heated. I was like, oh my goodness, this, you guys, like I was like, I don't know that I belong here, but I will definitely enjoy it while I am here. And so we were able to stay there for a few days, and we ordered room service one night. And what's hilarious is we ordered room service because we had eaten out before, and we had brought the food back, but there was no microwave or anything like that. But there were no utensils. And so we're like, we really need some utensils. But so we were like, maybe if we just call and ask for some utensils, but they might think that's so strange. So we was like, okay, well, let's order room service. I know, but we also did want to try that experience. So that wasn't solely just to get utensils and some ice, but because we couldn't find where to get ice. I think you literally had to ask and they would bring it to you, but then we were like, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to tip, and not that we're against tipping, but just we are trying to save money here and there. We are willing to do stuff on our own. Let's just say that. So we ordered room service. I got a salad, and Hubs got a tomato soup, I believe, and then we brought that up, and we're like, can you also bring some ice and stuff? And so we got that, and we were able to supplement our meal with that, and it was fun. But it came with the rolly cart, and then the guy at the door was like, "Can I come serve it to you?" And we're like, "No, it's okay." So we were able to have our room service and called to have the cart picked back up, and it felt cool. Like, we were like, okay, we like this. It was a great experience. Like I said, I definitely was like, this is more than what I'm used to for a hotel. But it was a beautiful hotel. Like I said, great service. Really enjoyed it. And London. I thought London was, well, first, I liked London. It to me was this awesome mixture of like the old, kind of like the original type, like a tribute to the old stuff, and then like a lot of the modern type new things. So like you'll look outside your window and there's this building that looks like it's been there for hundreds of years, and then to the left of it will be this all glass, building with lots of windows and everything. But it meshed well, I thought. So I thought London was this really cool blend of the old and the new, and I appreciated that in London. But my absolute favorite part, and that I was so pumped about, and I think I hinted to this maybe last episode, maybe the one before, I can't remember, but I got to see Phantom of the Opera in London. Yes, I got to see Phantom of the Opera in London. Woohoo! I mean, and I absolutely love Phantom of the Opera. I loved the soundtrack. I loved the movie. I loved the play. I saw it twice before, and now I've seen it 3 times. And now I get to say that I've seen it in London. Yes. And I was sad because it closed in New York this past year. And so I never did get to go see it like on Broadway or see it, in New York. But I did get to see it in London at His Majesty's Theatre. It used to be called Her Majesty's Theatre. I guess they changed the name because of the change in, regime. Oh, anyway. So I did get to see it there, and it was a phenomenal performance. They all did so very, very well. And hot take, honestly, I love the Gerard Butler version of Phantom. He's the guy from the movie, and I just love his grit when he sings. I had heard some critique about his, I guess, tenor voice. I don't know what any of that means. All I know is I thought he sounded great, and I love the grit. So that is one thing that I miss sometimes when I hear the performances. I think they have like these true tenors who can sing amazingly well, but some of them miss that grit. So if you are if you play the role of Phantom out there, or if you are auditioning for the role of Phantom, it's okay maybe to pick the less than perfect guy, as long as he has some like grit to his voice and can be that like, you know what I mean. So but they all did so very well. The theater was kind of, I guess, I assume maybe that's the only production they do there. And so the theater itself, the atmosphere of the theater is very, like, it takes you in it. You know how some places you get pulled out of it, but this one, it takes you in. And I made sure to get some good seats, because I know one time we went to see Phantom, and unintentionally we got like one of the worst seats, like if you're in the back and the balcony's above you, and so it like cuts off like half of what you could see. I know, but we redeemed ourselves with these seats, and we were like 7th row, almost directly in the middle. It was so amazing. The music was phenomenal. I have to say, that orchestra did so well. They sounded so good. Because when I was in high school, I played the violin. And so for our high school musicals, I would be part of the orchestra. And so that's still, like, I'm very aware that it's not just the singers, or the actors on the stage, but the orchestra plays a huge part. And so I sometimes try to take a minute and listen to them, and they did so good. And after the performance, they played while we were leaving, and it sounded amazing. And so I wanted to shout out the orchestra people and just how amazing and good that they sounded. So yeah, that is sort of the summary of the trip. It was so good. That is my sales pitch for if you ever get a chance to go to Scotland or to go to London, do it. Both places are amazing. I will have to say, if I had to choose between the two, which I don't, but if I did, Scotland was beautiful. Now, London, if you are a business class person, like if you dress up for a suit for work every day, London is your place. Don't get me wrong, I loved that aspect. The dress in London was awesome. Everybody looked so good. Like everybody, the men, the women, the young men. There was a lot of like, I would say 25 to 45-year-olds dressed in suits, just looking nice. I was like, go ahead. And even the older men, I mean, come on, 65 and up. I don't know that they were that old, but I'm just saying everybody was dressed nice. The women were dressed nice. The men were dressed nice. So I will say that London was a pretty nice, like business attire type place. They just looked nice. It was awesome there. Scotland was just beautiful. And I know that there are parts of London I did not get to see. So we were there for 3 days, and that is not near enough time to see and to visit all the sites that you'd want to. Like, we got to see them all, but we didn't get to go inside of them. Because we just didn't have the time, which that doesn't bother me too much, because to me, the inside is like the touristy museum-y part, and that's cool. I love it. But sometimes I do like to go to like different places and kind of feel like I'm actually from London. I'm from here. I'm not a tourist. What are you talking about? So it was not near enough time, but we still got to see a lot, and it was pretty amazing. And so my food segment, I will have to say I missed American food. You'd be like, it can't be that much different. I will say it's a little sweeter and a little more fattening and a little more of it. Because man, I think they have smaller portions, and in the UK, and like I said, drinks, we did not get free refills, and that hurt a little bit. And a lot of their stuff was 0 sugar. I'm sure I could have got, just regular, but, I feel like it's just a little, they promote maybe a little more healthy stuff. That was just the general vibe. I do not know. I don't have statistics or anything like that. So I missed that part about America. But there were a couple of good places that we went to. A lot of good, we had some Thai food there. We had Vietnamese food there. We had Indian food there. It was all really good. But one of the places that I went that I want to highlight, so it's my food segment, my UK edition. Ooh, I love that. The UK edition food segment was, we went to this place, and it was called, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to look it up because it was so good. I have my notebook. I have a notebook that I kept all my travel stuff in, just to keep track of. I do want to eventually make a scrapbook because I feel like that would be awesome. But oh my goodness, through all that, you guys, I grabbed the wrong notebook. Okay, the notebook actually ended up being right next to me. So, as I was saying, I do like to keep track of everything. And so I kept track of like the names of the different restaurants we went to and the different places that we did. And the restaurant that I want to highlight, yes, food segment UK edition. So the food item of choice is the French crepe. So the first crepe that my husband and I ever had was in Michigan for our honeymoon. And we had a crepe there. Husband had a blueberry crepe, and I think I got like the chocolate peanut butter and banana crepe, which is that's like my favorite combination of crepe there is. That was my first time trying it, and I've loved it ever since. So we went to, so the food is the crepe, and there's going to be 2 restaurants that just creped it up so nicely. All right, so the first one we went to was called the French Creperie La Petite Café, and that was in Edinburgh. And we went for our breakfast, and so I wasn't quite ready for a sweet crepe, which is what I usually get. So I got a savory crepe, and I got one that was, I think it was bacon, egg, cheese, and just a regular crepe. But the flavors I don't even know I guess the crepe part is the eggy bready part, maybe? Is that the crepe itself? And then you just fill it up with whatever. I don't know, but it didn't look like it would taste as amazing as it did. It looked pretty plain. It was like a plain old looking crepe. But when I put my fork in and put that thing in my mouth, I was like, oh my goodness, the flavors were there in every single bite. That's how you know, and I say this like that it isn't just like the meat or actually the meat has to be flavored in and of itself. But like no matter what bite you take, if I just took a bite of the meat, it's flavored. If I took a bite of the egg, it's flavored. If I take a bite of the crepe, it's flavored. No matter what bite I get, if it's flavored, oh, you know you've got something good. And every bite was so good and flavored so nicely, like a savory. It was just enough, like, I don't know what spices they used, but just enough spices. It wasn't like salty or peppery. It was something else, and it was amazing. So check that place out if you ever are there in Edinburgh. Go to that place. And then the second place that had the most amazing crepes, and with this I do have a story to tell, and I will probably, I don't know if I'll wrap up on that story, but it is my kind of like God moment that I had. I don't mean to always just share, but God's a huge part of my life, so it's just going to come out, and I'm going to say yes, sir, because I love him, and I don't mind talking about it. But it was the second place I had this amazing crepe was called Cora Chocolate Cafe. And that was, so after we had our lunch at the Vietnam house, we went to there for the dessert. And honestly, I tried to go to the French place first because I wanted to go back and try their sweet crepes, but it was closed, and it closed at 4, and we showed up at like 4:11. And I was so heartbroken. But we went to the Cora Chocolate Cafe, which was the place I'd seen before that said it had crepes. And oh, I think I'm going to have to post a picture. I will have to post a picture of this crepe because I did take a picture of it because they presented it so nicely. But it was so good. Like I said, so it was the Millionaire Shortcake Crepe. So it had the like the Millionaire shortbread crumbles on top with like caramel drizzled with I think chocolate on the inside, and then I had bananas added. It was so good and just absolutely amazing. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal crepe. When I show you guys the picture on Instagram, you are 100% going to realize like, oh, we bet it was good. And all of a sudden you're going to crave some crepes. So that's my food segment is crepes in general. And then those two specific places that we found in Edinburgh that nailed it. They both nailed the crepe. It was so good. So the story of the crepes that kind of made me think and really kind of, you guys know, I'm always like the way my brain works. I'm always looking for things, looking for ways, looking for meaning in things, because I think meaning can be found in a lot of places. I think God can speak to you in a lot of ways. I think he can speak to you through, your experiences, obviously through his word, through prayer, through, God can speak to you in a lot of different ways. And so when I get kind of like these aha moments, I do try to take a moment to be like, God, was that you? Or even God, like, what's your thoughts on this? Like, is this a reflection of you? Because I think a lot of things that happen, especially like in nature, reflects God's nature. I mean, he did create it after all, so this wasn't something that happened in nature, but it was something that happened that just made me kind of think about like, God, do you do that too sometimes? So here we go. Here's the story. So as I said, the first crepe place that we went to, the French one, after we had that, what we had for breakfast, we went to the Edinburgh Castle after that, and then we went walking up and down, I think, what's it called? The Royal Mile, and then we're like, let's get some lunch. So we went to go get some lunch, and at the Vietnam house, my hubs was feeling some Vietnamese, and I was too, really. So we went the long way around to this Vietnamese restaurant. My husband, he took me some way, and I was like, what in the world? Like, this is like a 45-minute trip. But we made it there, we ate, and we enjoyed ourselves. It was awesome. But then I was like, man, I really wanted to go back to that creperie place, that French crepe place, and get me another crepe, but this time the sweet one. Hubs was like, okay. But we had taken our time. I had forgotten that it had closed early. I didn't even think about it. And so we meandered our way back. And as I said, we got there and it had closed like 10 minutes before. And I was heartbroken. And, instantly, your brain sometimes wants to find someone to blame. And I was like, in my head, I don't think I told it to my husband, but in my head, I was like, my goodness, if we didn't walk the long way around to that Vietnamese place, and if we wouldn't have just sat there, if I wouldn't have followed Hubs, if I would just be like, let's go the shorter route or whatever, we probably could have got it back. We would have got back here just in time. And so I was kind of like, not regretting the long way around, but kind of being like, because we went this long way around, I missed out on this experience that I really wanted. I really wanted to try one of their sweet crepes. It would have been amazing. But because we didn't, we were like, okay, well, let's find somewhere else. And so we'd start walking around. Really, we were just like, okay, let's do our souvenir shopping. And if we run across something, we do. Well, we actually ran into the chocolate shop, the Cora Chocolate Cafe, that I had seen before, I think the day before, that interested me. And it said crepes. And I was like, okay, look, let's go in here for some crepes because, this might be good. And so we went in and I ordered it, and it came out looking phenomenal, like I just described. And I actually ended up really enjoying that crepe. My husband enjoyed his. It actually had a blueberry one. I think it had a berry one that the French restaurant actually didn't offer. My husband was looking for that one. And so this new place had something for my husband and for me. And it did have a lot more options than the other place had. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I did not regret for one instant not going back to that other place and actually eating there. I actually was grateful that we went the long way around and missed out on the crepe place that I'd went to try out this new place. And I was like, oh, there's a lesson there, isn't there, God? I was like, okay, you're right. Sometimes you take us the long way around and we feel like we're missing out, and we feel like, oh no, look, God, if we would have 10 minutes before, we would have made it. I was kind of like Martha and Mary when they were like, God, if you'd have been here, my brother wouldn't have died, and but there's a plan in that. There is, now husband, he didn't have a plan in taking the long way around, and then we ended up going to a better place. No, that's just how it worked out. But God has a plan that sometimes takes us the long way around, and in the moment we don't see it, all we see is the French place closed, but we don't realize that there's this place that's even better that helps not just us or me, but someone else. My husband got the crepe that he wanted, and I got the crepe that I wanted, and it actually ended up being a better option, and it ended up being exactly what I wanted and more what I wanted than what I even thought I originally wanted, right? Like, do you kind of follow what I'm saying? So it kind of built my faith up a little more, and like, okay, God, there are some aspects of my life that I feel like he is taking me on the longest journey to get to. And I feel like I'm missing out. But I guess in that moment, I was reminded that, okay, it may look like I'm missing out right now, but what God has for me will actually be even better, even more, that when I get there, I will not look back and regret. I will not look back and be like, man, I wish I didn't take that long way around. In fact, I'll be grateful for it, because I'll be like, you know what? If we didn't take that long way around, we wouldn't have got to this point. I wouldn't have been able to have this amazing millionaire crepe with bananas, And when I show you the picture, I'm telling you, you guys are going to be like, yes. So it kind of was like a quick life lesson, that the long way around doesn't mean that you're going to miss out, right? And in a God lesson, all in one. It was amazing. And all that found in some food, y'all. But honestly, though, it really was an amazing experience overall. We loved Scotland. We loved London. We loved England. We loved the whole trip. It was a phenomenal 10-year anniversary trip, and I'm so grateful to my husband for, obviously for the 10 years that we had. I love the fact that we've been married 10 years. I'm shooting for 50. I've always said, let's get 50. After that, I don't care what we do. So we are 1/5 of the way there. Love you, hub. Shout out to you. And thank you guys for listening to me explain this whole trip and everything. And I guess I also want to close on, so in this kind of vein of being thankful and grateful, one of the things that I want to hold on to, that I kind of want to leave with you guys and leave with after this trip, is being thankful for the memories, right? Because memories are what we have. That's what we have to hold on to. That's what we have through life. We've got every day, and then we've got our memories, those lovely things that we get to experience. So now that, my husband and I have had a chance in Scotland and in England, that I now have that memory, right? And creating those memories is kind of what's important. Creating those experiences is huge. And I know taking pictures I know especially for our male counterparts may not be the most fun, but I tell you what, if that can help capture the memory for later, because we do get older and we do forget things. And so it's important to have, those visual kind of reminders like, oh yeah, I remember that. And even this podcast is sort of serves as an auditory reminder for me of the things that I've experienced, the things that I've done. So, and for you, whatever way that you can capture those memories, do it. And take time to think about it. So oftentimes we can do it with taking a picture, but sometimes pause and let your mind be the thing that captures the picture, right? Look around, go through your senses. Like I mentioned before, like take a breather and just think about, wow, this is me experiencing this right now. Like, whew, this is something that either I've wanted or something I didn't even realize I wanted. Let me just capture that. So capture those memories, create those memories, be thankful for those memories. I will leave you with that. I love it. And honestly, it was a phenomenal trip. Do that for any trip you take, capture the lovely memories. Try to forget the things that maybe weren't the best parts. Like maybe when you walked around London all day long for hours and hours upon end and your feet hurt, forget that part. But remember, when you saw Phantom of the Opera and how amazing it was. Things like that. So anyway, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening to just the recap of my trip. It was so much fun. As I said at the beginning of the cast, school is in session. Starting tomorrow, we are back at it. I love what I do. I love teaching. So while I am a little sad that my summer is gone, I am pretty excited to be back in school. The new year, new kiddos, it's all going to be amazing. So thank you guys for tuning in. Check out my Instagram. I'm going to try to post some pictures of Scotland and England on there. Definitely pictures of the crepes, and I will see you guys in a couple weeks.